Hello world. It's the fourth quarter, a new season. The most expensive holidays are here. Also, a new year will be coming and a new season will arrive. And that season will be tax season. But it'll also be a season for you to get that money back that you spent it this year. Potentially, if you managed it well all this year. But yo, check this out. We're going to talk about misinformation and all the things that you need to know in order to prepare for the upcoming tax season. Because taxes is an important component to your economic advancement in this world. Let's hop into it, man, right here on After the Break. Welcome, Rosaline Bosby. How are you today?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for asking.
I'm accountant, tax preparer, financial analyst, consultant, whatever you need me to be. I'm it.
How you been in the business?
22 years I've been doing this. I mean, things have changed. Tax laws, these income-based laws, child tax credit, you name it, it has changed. Every year it changes. So I'll say the child tax credit. So years ago, we wouldn't get as much for kids, for dependents. These days now, they're telling them they can get a 3,600, which I want to clear that up because I get so many questions about that. So I get questions about, so if I have an infant, will I get the full 3,600? I'm going to be clear, it falls in your tax bracket. If you're a low income person who doesn't make about $30,000 a year, you may qualify for that whole 3,600. But if you're making $50,000, $60,000, you're not going to get that whole tax bracket. You're not going to get that whole 3,600. And a lot of people have that kind of like misunderstood because they feel like they're entitled to it. But again, you have to understand, the more you make, the less you get.
I know people that ended up having to pay money back for claim independence and what else. I have the laws changed in the area of fraud.
They're making a lot of people verify their identity these days. Even though you haven't had to do it in the past, they do random lottery checks to where it could be me. If I filed my taxes, I've been filing my taxes for years, and just all of a sudden out the blue, I'll use this as an example. I moved, and they made me do an identity check because my address had changed, and that's because I had moved from one state to the other. So they wanted to make sure that my dependents were the same, that it was me that was filing this return. They just want to make sure that you have that right to be able to claim these kids, or even the status, head of household, single, whatever. They just want to make sure. I mean, they try to do, and I'm not going to say they do it with everybody, but 80% they do. Even with some of these kids, fathers, they make them send in paperwork to make sure that they're allowed. Now we have to attach a form. When we filed the taxes, we have to attach a form signed by the mother giving them consent. We didn't used to have to do that. And they just started that, I think about 2 years ago.
Something I noticed over the years is you file my taxes and I submitted the paperwork, I still get penalized and you don't. How does that happen when the preparer prepared the paperwork?
Well, that's actually, it's partially true and part not true. So I'll say this, where we get faulted at, because we have to do our due diligence with that paperwork to say that this is correct, that's being done, and you provided me all that information. Where that tax preparer falls in, where that person, he or she, gets penalized. If you're just signing paperwork, I could have put anything on there. It's best that you look over your paperwork to make sure that this is all true. Because once you sign that paperwork, you're basically saying you gave me all this information. You know that this is what's on your tax return. That prepare, she's protected or he's protected. But if you don't, then hey, it just falls on you. It's gonna fall on you eventually. Yeah, it definitely can go ways.
Right on. Okay, but even with people not filing, I also hear people say, hey man, if you don't file, they ain't gonna never come at you. You just once you stop filing, you can't file no more. But if you do file one time, they gonna come at you and you gonna have to do all that back pay. So how true is that?
Well, if you're a person that's filed before, just say you filed 5 years ago and you never filed again. It could be because you're not working. It could be because you don't have the income, to file.
And what if you have been working, or what if you do have a business and you've been operating and functioning?
Well, you need to file every year. Yeah, they're going to come, especially if um you have all this income coming in and you haven't paid taxes on it. You definitely need to file every year. If you don't, then you're at the risk of all these penalties and fines. So if you haven't filed in 5 years, imagine if they come at you and they tell you, well, you haven't filed in the last 5 years and you owe $100,000. Always know this: the IRS is always going to fine you at the max because they really don't know. You can have all kind of expenses that you can write off or whatever. They don't know that because you haven't filed. So they're always going to fine you at that max. Once you take care of your tax returns, it could have dropped all the way down to 20,000 that you may owe. But if you don't, how would they know?
I know one year I did know. Okay, but I found out. Roz. Look, Roz, check this out, man. I got my paycheck, right? I was driving for the Phoenix Transit with Lays.
Uh-huh.
I was driving the city bus. All right, I was just on the live decent. You know what I'm saying? Settle down. I have my wife and a daughter. You know what I'm saying? Trying to live life like somebody. Man, I was getting a paycheck. I had plans that weekend. I got my check and said like $12 on it. I'm like, whoa, what's happening? You know what I'm saying? I went to the window. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey man, what's up?
Yeah.
The IRS. You know what I'm saying? Damn.
Really going to stages.
They hit me for my paper, Rosaline. You know what I'm saying? They hit me for my paper, man. You know what I'm saying? So I found out right then. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But the thing I would advise the people, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, just file your taxes. You know what I'm saying? Even if you reach the max amount of years that you can go, the grace period, 2-3 years, however long it goes, no matter whether you're business or your individual self, file your taxes, do the right thing, be a contributing citizen to society. Because if you ain't doing what the rules say do, and you complaining about shit, you part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not doing that falls back on society. If I'm in debt, I'm contributing to national debt. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Even if it's just mine. So what's something that you see in certain zip codes as far as tax preparation and people preparing taxes properly to get their full benefits?
It's all about knowing those tax laws, knowing what you can and cannot claim as an individual or a business. So it really doesn't matter what zip code, it really doesn't matter what state that you're in because they all apply everywhere. Now, some states do have different laws or different credits where you can claim certain things. So I'll just say some states just don't do state tax, right? And Louisiana, we pay state taxes. So you're going to see us pay those state taxes and part of your state tax. So just say you have a child that's in daycare. You're allowed to carry that for that credit to get some of that back versus a person who lives in Texas or Florida, Wyoming, somewhere like that, that they don't pay state taxes, but their kid goes to childcare. They can't claim that. They can't get that credit. We do have different laws in different, I'll say, in different states, and that's for state taxes only. Federal taxes is across the board. Nothing changes.
But to be fair to the nation, taking taxes from people's wages and then giving them a return, as an incentive at the start of the year or throughout the year, through whether it be through tax returns or grant programs, certain types of business incentives.
Hmm.
Do you think that taxes are really fair to the population?
They need taxes. They definitely need taxes. Because it keeps our nation going. Regardless of what tax the money has to come from somewhere. It's just not gonna just appear. So we pay in those taxes so that the nation can continue to grow. So just say when we pay payroll taxes for one. So you plan on retiring when at some point, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you're paying Social Security in every
I'm
time
gonna be,
that
I'm gonna be doing, I'm gonna be doing something though, 9 times out of 10. But
but
yeah.
point, you're gonna be looking for that Social Security check. So a couple years ago, and I'm not gonna say a couple years, I'm gonna say quite a few years ago, over 10, they were saying that there would be no more Social Security by the
Mm,
time we got in our 40s. We're in our 40s now. Social Security is still going, even though the ratio is smaller. So at one point, it may have been 10 people paying into your Social Security just for you. Now it's like a 5-to-1. So it is getting less. So it is getting a little scary. But I don't think that it would stop. I hope that it won't, because we actually have a lot of people here that need Social Security. So paying your taxes, I feel like it needs to be so much, so high at times. No. I mean, everybody has their difference of opinion on that, because if I didn't have to pay taxes, I wouldn't. But we do. So
yeah.
yeah, you want that. You want to be able to still feed into the environment so that it can constantly go. It's needed. Those taxes are definitely needed.
Because people don't want nobody to take their money. You know what
Well,
I mean? I'm one of those people.
I don't want nobody taking mine either, but we need those taxes for Medicaid, different kind of insurance. We need it. People don't understand the backlog of why you pay taxes. They get so upset because taxes are being taken out of their checks. But when you come to income tax season, it's a different story. Of course, they're going to get their money back, most of it. But you have to know that importance of why those taxes are being taken out of. If you're on Medicaid, those taxes that are being taken out, they're helping pay for your Medicaid. If your mom or your daddy or whoever gets Social Security, you're putting into that pot in order for them to continue to keep their check coming every month.
I
So
think that's the thing. I think that's the thing. People be like, I didn't sign up for that. I didn't ask to do that. But your citizenship alone, your birth into this nation, is what automatically signs you up for that. You know what I'm saying? And
exactly.
so that's what people need to understand. So if you're going to call yourself an American, if you're going to call yourself a citizen of the nation, or a citizen of your community, or somebody from your hood, or whatever, you know what I'm saying, or rep your city, understand that that's part of your contribution to
Hmm.
wherever you reside. And that's just all
Exactly.
it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
E- Even with people pay property taxes and city taxes or whatever. You don't
Mhm.
want to ride the road, do you? You don't want to have to see grass growing up to the top of somebody's house, do you? I mean, I know some people just don't care, but a lot of us do care. I mean, I don't want to keep running over potholes, busting my tires. You know?
I need a tie rod on my car right now. Gonna cost me 2,200.
Those state taxes so that those roads can be fixed. You paying them state taxes so that you can electricity bill can go down some. You paying those state taxes so that they can build another community center. Or it's so much more than they just taking my money. It's so much more.
That's beautiful, man. I really appreciate that, Roslyn. It is the end of the year, and we are approaching tax season. One thing that I've learned along my journey when it comes to tax filing and tax returns is to use that as an opportunity to kickstart my savings and my potential investment opportunities for the year to come. People typically use that as an opportunity to spend the money. People get thousands of dollars at a time.
Right.
I always tell people, $500 can change your life. You know what I'm saying? $200 can change your life. $1,000 can change your life. Depending on if you know what to invest that in. What some of the things should they do with the money as opposed to just spending it?
I recommend that they save. I know a lot of us can't, and let's just be realistic. And I'm gonna say it like this, and I'm saying this for like our people. This is like our season, right? A lot of us catch up on our bills. A lot of us put money to the side. If we can, we buy cars. We do what we can. If you are in a position to be able to save some, open you a savings account. Go put it in IRA, whatever you can for a rainy day. Just put, I don't care if it is $500. That's $500 more than what you probably had yesterday. And you can go back to know that it's there. And like I said, it's some people can, some can't. But if you can, I tell people to just do it because God is always going to make a way for you to be able to do whatever you need to do. But that money that you put to the side, it's there. You know it's there. It's best to try to invest in you some kind of savings. Start your business if you want to do. I know a lot of my clients, they talk about starting them a business or, trying to start up a little something. Do it. This is the perfect time. Perfect time.
I've known some people that took some of that money and invested some of it, and man,
Yeah.
and did some great things with it.
We have people that don't believe in banks. Put it in a shoebox. Give it to your mama.
Oh,
Give it to somebody who's not going to spend your money. And you put it to the side and, still go open you that boutique that you've been talking about. Go open up you that lawn care service that you've been talking about. Start somewhere.
well, some of them businesses you can't just start with cash. You gotta have them bank statements. You got,
Listen,
but
I
I know
know.
you can deposit it, the paper trail. But it just, I'm just saying though, depending on how much it is. Stop kidding, baby. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like we both know, tax season is the season where we get money and end up right back in the position we was in for the rest of the year. You really have to make it last. And with the way that the economy is now, you know what I'm saying? What's some of the shifts you've seen in business and business filings as far as income in businesses with this current economy?
I guess it just depends on your business. I'm going to say it depends on your business. It depends on how long you've been in business. Because I've known people that's been in business 10, 15 years and they're no longer in business because of the shift of the economy. Because it's so right now.
It's what?
It's so bad. It's really bad.
I've noticed a lot of people look to take a alternative career path because the wages now, the income, the money just ain't flowing like the money flow. And
It's
I
really
don't think, and I really don't think that a presidential candidate can change what it is, because some things, it just feels like there's an overproduction of a lot of things and a lack of consumption,
right.
and
I get
I
that.
don't know. I don't know if the old way works better or the new way watering it down. You know what I'm saying? Because it's damn don't feel watered down. You know what I mean? But I mean, hey man, all we can do is keep going and
That's
absorb some of the wisdom and knowledge that people like yourself have to give, man, to the world. And I really appreciate your time. Let's go in history. So because we are in the skin we in, we got to talk to our kindred. You know what I'm saying? So historically, we've been saviors for this nation in a lot of industries. Whether it be automotive, whether it be fashion, or whether it be real estate, or whatever.
we are
Um,
excellent.
what's some of the barriers that the culture overcame when it came to taxes?
Hmm. So I'll say this. So, you know, how far you want me to go back?
It's all on you, whatever you want to do.
Uh, so our barriers where I'll go all the way back to where we were in chains. And I'll say this. So, when we were slaves, we didn't
Some
have to
of
pay.
us. I wasn't no slave. I wasn't. I'm just. I'm just messing with you, man. Some are weak. You know what I'm saying? I feel you though. I feel you
You know, we didn't, honestly, I wish we kind of stayed. I'm not gonna say stayed back then, but because like yeah, we didn't have to pay taxes back then.
though.
Our The owners paid taxes because we were considered as property, so we didn't have to pay taxes. But after, we still didn't have to pay as much taxes as the white man because they were more privileged at the time. So we still had a let's see, what is it called, an entitlement tax that we had to pay, which was maybe like 2% versus the white man's 5%. And then we came over another barrier to where we started owning property. And I mean, we were equal to them, to where we did have to pay the same percentage. So that was I feel like something that we overcame when we started buying our own property from them, and we were equal to them. Even though I wouldn't have wanted to pay them same taxes, but that was something that we, a big accomplishment for blacks at the time. I don't want them. I don't want to pay the taxes, honestly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even though the ancestors were paying less, they still were getting
Yeah,
cheated. They still were getting cheated on their income either way.
on that, definitely.
Well,
We've all cheated on that for years, years.
that's the thing that I always want to highlight for the people is to show them that we do have a current responsibility to continue
Oh yeah,
carrying the torch of what our ancestors did for the suffering that they endured
hmm
and came out of, and they actually did well for themselves and established the communities that we today call the hood. And
yeah,
so those communities were bought by our ancestors. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I think that it's important that we maintain those properties and maintain the community and keep ownership of it by making sure we're informed on how to maintain the property, how to maintain ownership, how to keep our
mhm,
funds protected, because
yeah.
not paying taxes can also result into a garnishment like I had. What are some other things that can happen as a result of you not filing taxes?
Well, you can also have your property with a lien on it. They can put a levy on your bank account where it's frozen, where you won't even be able to touch your money.
Mm,
Um, you actually could get fined. Yeah, you can go to jail. Like if
mm,
it's too, they can sentence you to jail.
uh,
Yeah, it just depends on the severity of it.
mm,
If you just owe a little something, pay your
mm,
fines.
yeah,
Those penalties they add every day. They can
yeah,
tell a week ago that you owe $1,000. You can call back 2 weeks later and they're gonna tell you you owe 1,500. Those penalties and fines add up
yeah.
every.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. People take it from experience. I know about it. Once again, I think that it is important that people know because once you get the opportunity to have something like real estate,
Mm-hmm.
once you do get a job, once you do have children, once you do establish a business for yourself, and you continue to elevate and grow in your financial positioning in this system and economy, taxes is an important variable in that component, to your success. So
It
I
is.
really appreciate that. And before we get out of here, Rosin, what's some other things that people should know as far as business owners? How should business owners file and what should they know?
The difference with the individuals and businesses. So we file annually. That's once a year. That's all we have to file. Businesses usually have to do quarterly or they could do monthly. I guess it just depends on, well, it just depends on what that business, how they want to file their taxes. If you know that you're a high volume and you make this amount of money every year, I would suggest quarterly, because you paying those taxes quarterly, you don't see this big hit at the end of the year. So if you're paying $5,000-$6,000 quarterly, imagine what you could be paying at the end of the year. Because some businesses pay more than that. So I suggest businesses to do quarterly. It's better for them to do quarterly, always.
When filing your taxes, when doing
Mm-hmm.
your claim, what are some of the things that can boost your return as far as write-offs for businesses as opposed to individuals, or are they the same?
Your expenses. Your expenses help a lot. They actually help with the amount you may owe, because you may owe them $100,000. Once you start putting in your expenses, it breaks down. I'm not going to tell you all the time a business is going to see a return, money returning to them because of the amount that they make during the year. But it can happen. Don't get me wrong, it can. But you putting in your expenses and keeping track of your expenses that you've paid out during the year, your payroll, that all helps. If you don't have that, if you don't keep track of that, it hurts you.
So basically, the more you spend is beneficial.
It is. It is. Because if you know that you're a high volume business and that you've made $2 million this year and you have to report that, you have and let me say this, your payroll and just say your equipment, your traveling, all that takes effect into your expenses. So I'm not going to say the more that you spend, but it definitely helps to be able to have those expenses to help with your return.
Deadlines. What's the filing window for filing your income taxes? Because quarterly, for those that don't know, is 4 times a year, every 3 months. Every 3 months is a quarter. But
Uh-huh.
that's for businesses. But individuals file once a year, or can they file anytime throughout the year?
Yo, I'm glad you asked that, because a lot of people ask about the April 15th deadline. So your April 15th deadline is for businesses and individuals who owe the IRS. If you know that you owe the IRS and that you have to pay back, that's your deadline, April 15th. For people who typically get a return back, money back, you can file your return any time of the year before December 31st. It could actually be December 31st, as long as it's that physical year.
What's some of the places you recommend people go file their taxes, and who some of the people, and what is the CPA? What is the CPA for those that don't know?
Me. No.
Right on.
It's a certified accountant though. But I'm only going to recommend where I work. And that's over at Alpha Tax at 101 Patterson Street in Lafayette. I mean, I know a lot of my people know me. I've been there for years. I think I've been there since 2009, 2008, 2009. I've been there, but that's my only recommendation. We're some great people. We'll help you get as much money as we can back. Your credits, we'll do what we can for you.
The only barrier is the information. That's it.
That's it. That's it.
That's it.
That's email me at rosaline.bosby@yahoo.com. If you can't get me there, I also have an alternate number that I usually use. It's 912-940-4223.
Just do what the youngsters say and hit her on the phone. You know what I mean? And hopefully the information that you shared, you know what I'm saying, is useful and beneficial to people, and that they put it into action and take it seriously, because
Yeah, I hope
tax
so.
preparation is very important. You know, and I'm here to tell you that as someone who experienced my wages garnished, but I also got audited. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
When I first purchased my home, yeah, I got audited. You know, and so, so it's just different things that you have to do, because you just never know
yeah,
how taxes, how not filing can affect you.
and not knowing those laws of what you can and can't do. So You always want to try to get with somebody who can help you. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with you doing your own taxes, but always try to get some kind of just information, inside information with somebody to see what it is that can be done.
That's what's up. Rosaline Bosby, I appreciate you, man. Much love and respect. I love you, baby.
Love you too. Thanks, babe.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much for being with me on After the Break. And everybody out there, man, hopefully the information, it's some news you can use. Till next time, man. All of y'all out there, man, be blessed in every good and great way. Respect and salute. We gone.